handed Trump the verbal smackdown of the century. Rachel Maddow just went full scorched earth live on TV and left the orange overlord scrambling like someone unplugged his tanning bed mid-session. So what's got Donnie dumpster diving for a comeback this time? Maddow didn't just drag him, she exposed him, filleted him, and served him up like yesterday's cold, opened his dirty secrets, laid out his chaos resume, and reminded the world why Trump's approval ratings are somewhere between mold and mosquitoes. Buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into the train wreck of Trump's latest unraveling. And Maddow's got the receipts, the commentary, and the knockout punch he never saw coming. Let's set off the human spray tan this time. Maddow took aim at his greatest weakness, reality. She didn't have to scream, tweet in all caps, or call anyone nasty names. She simply laid out facts so damaging, so humiliating, that somewhere in Florida, Trump was definitely flipping over gold-plated golf carts. Her weapon of choice? The truth about his crumbling empire, his non-stop legal nightmares, and that sweet little detail called unpopularity. The kind of numbers that make used car salesmen look like national heroes.
So if you don't stand for anything other than what he wants, you don't vote, you just put him in power. Yeah. And once he's there, nobody is allowed to disagree with him or say anything that he doesn't believe.
And what is that called?
That is what a lot of other countries all around the world have, and it is not democracy.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to get rid of the American system of government, and that means getting rid of a government that does anything other than serve him, and that's what Project
that painted a picture even more tragic than his hairline. And Trump, predictably, lost his ever-loving mind. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, bruises his ego more than ratings. Trump's favorite word. This guy is so obsessed with being liked, he once bragged about his TV appearances like a B-list celebrity on Reality Rehab. Maddow served him the cold, hard truth that his approval ratings are in freefall, hitting numbers so low they might qualify for deep-sea exploration. She laid prefer literally anyone else, even canned soup over his leadership.
Pushback all over this country has thrown down stop strips in the road to flatten their tires and at least slow them down, and sometimes to stop them everywhere. And none of it has been easy, given the scale of what they are trying to do to this country. But the feedback loop here is very clear.
Rachel didn't stop there. Oh no. She peeled back the layers of scandal like an onion, each one stinkier than the last. From tax fraud allegations to his MAGA-fueled riot tour, Maddow rolled out receipts like it was Black Friday. And Trump? He's out here denying reality like it's a bad Yelp review. Maddow reminded America that this is a man who declared bankruptcy so many times, even Monopoly refuses to license him. She exposed how he built a brand on smoke and mirrors, yet can't handle a single moment of accountability without launching into toddler-level meltdown.
They're really screwed up. I watch this MSNBC, which is a threat to democracy, actually. They're stone cold mean, but they're stuttering. They're all screwed up. They're all mentally screwed up. They don't know what. Their ratings have gone down the tubes. I don't even talk about CNN. CNN's sort of like, I don't know, they're pathetic, actually. But MSNBC was mean. Their ratings are absolutely down. There's Rachel Maddow. What does she have? She's got nothing. Nothing.
Trump can't fight back. Not really. Because while Maddow's calmly destroying him with words and wit, he's lashing out on Truth Social like an angry raccoon in a gold cage, slamming his tiny fingers on the keyboard, hurling insults at the wind. His responses? Garbled messes filled with typos, random capitalizations, and grammar so bad it's being used to teach high school students what not to do. Meanwhile, she outlined how his campaign money vanishes faster than his lawyers, and how every time he opens his mouth, another legal team quietly backs away. And what does Trump do? He accuses her of being unfair. That's right, the man who insulted war heroes, mocked disabilities, and told an entire country that a deadly virus was just going to disappear is out here crying about fairness. Maddow didn't just report the news, she drop-kicked his credibility, and the man couldn't handle it. Not forget the icing on this disaster cake. While Maddow's dissecting his every failure with calm, precise commentary, Trump's out here trying to gaslight the nation into thinking his presidency was a golden era. The man thinks he deserves a statue when, in reality, all he's earned is a wax figure in a house of horrors and a permanent place on late-night comedy reels. And just when you think Trump's blooper reel couldn't get more jam-packed, Maddow casually flips to the next chapter, the real-life blunders that even bad sitcom writers wouldn't dare touch. Let's start with his Twitter addiction. Trump didn't just feud with world leaders, he beefed with celebrities, late-night hosts, random private citizens, teenagers, athletes, and anyone who dared breathe in his direction. Remember when he went after Chrissy Teigen for calling him out? Or when he decided that kneeling NFL players were somehow a national crisis on par with nuclear war? The man's thumbs practically had a vendetta against anyone who wasn't.
To recap, it's a political party with no party platform, no normal nominating process for its nominees, no primary debates, and no general election debates. They're just coming off the worst back-to-back electoral performance by any party since before FDR, and it's all because it's what Trump wants.
The moment when Trump tried to prove he was right about a hurricane forecast by literally drawing on a weather map with a Sharpie. Most people, when caught making a simple mistake, shrug and move on. Trump? Nah, he doubled down, spent government resources defending his Sharpie masterpiece, and turned a small error into a global punchline. Oh, and speaking of unforgettable disasters, Charlottesville. Trump's both sides fiasco, where he equated white supremacists with protesters, wasn't just a PR blunder. It became one of the darkest stains on his presidency. Maddow dragged that moment back into the light, reminding viewers that when leadership was needed most, Trump responded with moral cowardice. And who could forget the bleach comment? During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, while the world was desperate for guidance, Trump floated the idea of injecting disinfectant as a cure, essentially telling Americans to gargle Clorox. Maddow didn't even have to editorialize. She simply laid out how Trump's own health officials sat frozen in horror as he spewed nonsense live on
Criminal justice system, for all its faults, it makes evidence public.
Right.
It tests evidence. It tests facts. It's an adversarial, fair process. And when you lie, your lie is exposed, and then that is inadmissible or it is punished. And pouting doesn't count, and yelling doesn't count, and threats are illegal, and it's a compulsory process, and the truth gets proven, and it's done in a fair way that everybody can see. You get to put your best foot forward. You get to make your best case with joke lawyers or with real lawyers if you can afford them. And that process is something that can prove reality. It can bring Earth 1 and Earth 2 crashing together in a way that really makes all the myth lose its power. It doesn't make it disappear, but it exposes it in a way that is unimpeachable.
Our obsession with crowd sizes. You'd think being elected president would be enough to soothe most egos, but not Trump. Day one, he's raging about inauguration crowd photos, tweeting aerial shots like some deranged stadium promoter, insisting that the media conspired to shrink his audience. Maddow reminded everyone that he spent more energy fighting with photographers than he did crafting policy. And let's top it off with his G7 summit behavior, a cringe-worthy masterclass in how not to act among world leaders. Trump arrived late, shoved the Prime Minister of Montenegro aside like a toddler fighting over a juice box, and then demanded that Russia be reinstated to the G7, turning the whole event into a geopolitical reality show. It's not just one or two slip-ups, it's a pattern of blunders so ridiculous, Maddow barely needed commentary. She simply let the footage roll, exposing how a man who claims to be the best deal maker couldn't even make it through a weekend summit without causing an international facepalm.
Mass firings that we talked about here on the show last night at the U.S. Department of Education, they went ahead today. Last night and today, they fired 1,300 people who work at the U.S. Department of Education. They've now removed almost half of the staff from that agency, and they say they intend to fully shut down the U.S. Department of Education. This is a wildly unpopular thing to do. 2/3 of Americans say they do not want the U.S. Department of Education to be shut down. But Trump and Republicans are going ahead with it anyway, apparently. I wonder why they don't want to do town halls. I wonder why they don't want to answer questions about what they're
dismantling someone without raising your voice. And Rachel Maddow has mastered it like a surgeon with a scalpel. While Trump's preferred method of communication is a screeching, typo-ridden, all-caps tweet storm that reads like it was written by an irate raccoon trapped in a tanning bed, Maddow's approach is pure surgical precision. She doesn't need to shout. She doesn't need to insult. She just sits there, calm as ever, glasses perched on her nose, unraveling his entire existence one methodical fact at a time, while Trump's somewhere in Florida flailing like a wind-up toy who's been overwound and dropped on a Fox News set. The beauty of Maddow's takedown isn't just in the content, it's in the delivery. She's not breathless. She's not riled up. She's the eye of the storm, cool, composed, unfazed, while Trump spins himself into a red-faced frenzy on whatever platform hasn't banned him yet. Watching Maddow lay out the receipts feels less like news commentary and more like attending a masterclass in intellectual judo. She doesn't need to punch hard. She just lets Trump's own weight do the work, flipping him effortlessly over every lie, blunder, and catastrophic decision he's ever made.
What I want least of all is to realize that half the country went to bed sad tonight, but then woke up tomorrow fired up with a new sense of purpose, knowing that apparently this is what we're on this earth to do as American citizens in this generation. Because history did not just end. Time did not just stop. We just got marching orders from the universe and the Electoral College that as of today, American citizens who do want to hold on to democracy, we know exactly what we're going to be spending the next days and weeks and likely years of our life.
Any of her iconic Trump exposés, she doesn't drop bombshells like she's lighting fireworks. No, she walks you through it slowly, meticulously, connecting dots like a crime show detective who's already solved the case but is letting the audience savor the reveal. She'll start with something seemingly small, a weird financial document, an odd statement buried in a press release, and before you know it, she's yanked back the curtain on a full-blown scandal, while Trump's somewhere yelling into the void about fake news and witch hunts, all while sweating bullets under his spray tan. It's not just that Maddow's smart, it's that she makes being smart look effortless, and nothing gets under Trump's skin faster than someone exposing his chaos without breaking a sweat. Trump thrives on chaos. He thrives on people reacting to him, spiraling in the drama, engaging with the circus. But Maddow? She doesn't take the bait. She calmly arranges the circus animals, points to the mess, and quietly reminds everyone that the ringmaster has no idea what he's doing.
The pushback all over this country has thrown down stop strips in the road to flatten their tires and at least slow them down and sometimes to stop them. And it has happened everywhere. And none of it has been easy, given the scale of what...
Oh, the pacing. Maddow can stretch a segment, build suspense, drip-feed information until you're on the edge of your seat, all while Trump is over in his corner, smashing the panic button like a contestant on a game show who knows they've already lost. Where Trump's communication style is like someone yelling into a megaphone in a hurricane, loud, chaotic, incomprehensible, Maddow's is like a chess master laying traps 5 moves ahead, never breaking her cool while her opponent flips over the board in frustration. Let's not forget, Trump hates losing, but what he hates even more is being outclassed. And Maddow doesn't just outclass him, she leaves him in the intellectual dust, calmly sipping water while he's rage posting at 3 a.m., trying to figure out how he's once again become the punchline without her ever once mentioning his...
Have you considered resigning? People have resigned for much smaller sins and much less damage to their country than this. Have you been any part of this process? In the White House, in Doe?
And the commentary snowballs, you can practically hear the Mar-a-Lago staff scrambling to unplug Trump's Wi-Fi. Because nothing sends Trump deeper into meltdown mode than public humiliation, especially when it comes gift-wrapped by a woman who didn't even break a sweat. Every trending hashtag, every viral TikTok duet, reenacting Maddow's takedown, every sarcastic Instagram story. It's like adding lighter fluid to Trump's already raging fire of insecurities. Meanwhile, journalists, analysts, and commentators are piling on too. You've got op-eds dropping within hours, headlines praising Maddow's brilliance while dismantling Trump's endless failures. Pundits dissect every second of the broadcast, pointing out how Maddow connected the dots in ways even Trump's loyal base couldn't ignore. Panels on CNN, MSNBC, even international networks, everyone's discussing how she just put Trump's disastrous resume on full display.
Weirdly, like the Trump stuff is, I don't even know how to explain it. If your job is talking about what's going on in the country and talking about what's going on in politics, like doing an hour of TV every day.
I feel this too.
I feel like my job every day is like, I paint houses like with a nail polish brush. Like that's my job every day, to fill in a little tiny piece of it. And then one day I came to work and God was like, actually today, you get a power sprayer, do a few houses today. That's what it means to have Donald Trump in politics. God bless you, you made it so easy.
Always the best part of our monologue every night for the past 2 months.
That is undefeated, and Trump knows it. No matter how many posts he fires off, no matter how many sycophants he parades on cable news, the viral clips of Maddow's methodical, savage dismantling live on forever. It's archived, memed, dissected, and reshared by millions, etched into digital history as the day Trump got outplayed, outclassed, and publicly obliterated by facts. By the time the dust settles, it's clear. Maddow didn't just expose Trump. She handed the public the ultimate weapon: proof, precision, and a highlight reel of his greatest blunders. And social media, it's the amplifier that ensures Trump can't run from it, no matter how hard he rants.